Incriminating phone calls from an alleged killer can now be used in his trial. This is according to the Supreme Court of Georgia. Barron Brantley is accused of killing Clark Atlanta University student Alexis Crawford in 2019.
And Brantley is due in court later this morning following that ruling. Atlanta News First, Sarah Hammond live for us at the Fulton County Courthouse with what we can expect today.
That's right. So according to prosecutors, Barron Brantley made multiple statements to people other than his attorney using jail phones while waiting for his trial. Now, Brantley is accused, along with his ex-girlfriend Jordan Jones, of killing Alexis Crawford when Jones and Crawford got into an argument. The two women were roommates at Clark Atlanta University. And after Brantley allegedly choked Crawford to death, police say he and Jones put her body in a plastic bin and dumped it in a park. Now, once in jail, Brantley allegedly made incriminating phone calls. Prosecutors want to use 3 of those phone calls in his trial. He claims that is a violation of his privacy, but the state Supreme Court ruled against him. And take a listen to what one investigator says Brantley and Jones told him after their arrest in 2019.
While she was engaged in a fight with her, Mr. Brantley came out of the bedroom and choked her. And while he was choking Ms. Crawford, Jordan Jones put a plastic bag over her head.
Now, Brantley is due to stand up before a judge this morning at 9 a.m. We'll bring the latest from the courtroom to you on Atlanta News First. Live from the Fulton County Courthouse, Sarah Hammond for Atlanta News First.